Hello. Morning, everybody. If anybody's there, just gonna. Hey, Prasp is here. Oh, and Unok. Well, then we're good. We can get going. All right. So today I'm gonna do some fight choreography stuff right here. So let's just get to it. How's everybody doing this morning? Y'all doing funky fresh? Oh. All right, I'm gonna need some music this morning. Before I die. Hey, yo, funky, sleepy, but funky indeed. All right, that sounds good. Now, what to listen to in terms of music this morning? Oh, I know. It's Movits time. Seriously, if you are feeling sleepy this morning, let me just suggest you a song that'll wake you right up. Alright, just gonna let that autoplay. That's still too loud by. Alright, let's do this! Oh yeah. Slurpee, I'm studying fight video from Academia Śmierci. I'll post the link again. I'm starting at 125. And by the way, nothing wakes you up like a little bit of Swedish jazz hip hop. Oh yeah, and the start of the ending of Last Week Tonight yesterday was freaking brilliant. Like, if you haven't seen it, you really should. It's great. Hey, Will. How are you this morning? Did you stay up playing Battle? I did. Well, I mixed it in with working on a character, which is kind of semi-effective, and it's a nice way to, you know, end your evening. But I did. I'm sorry, Will. I'm a bad boy, but yeah, that game is fun though. That's a triumph of like randomly built adventure. I really like it. But I promise, tonight it's gonna be different. Tonight I'm going to bed early. Ooh, doesn't your head get tired looking up and down so much? Well, my neck clear dry rather than anything else, but no. I'm a stubborn boy. I got a strong neck. Morning, Salty. And Kanan is on. Man, everybody's here today. This is nice. So it would take so much time. I'm no discipline for game. There's myself, so I have to stay away. Well, Will is saying that he don't know if you could do Battle Brothers because it's like a time investment. Yeah, you're not wrong. It is, but it's kind of the charm of it too. Is that it if it didn't take the time, then you wouldn't develop your amiability and friendliness towards these, pretty randomly generated characters. But it's like the things that they do in the course of the game that makes them individuals. And that's kind of where the game brilliates too. Like it makes you care about these characters. K-Night, I'll post it again. I'm studying this fight video by Academia. Okay, so I'm gonna slaughter this, but Zermierzi. It's like a Fiori style sword fighting. It's like the European version of form fighting. If you a kata. Look at it. I had a look at it. It looks like it wouldn't take. Okay. Games are why I'm 38 and only just trying to make a career out of art. Yeah, well, you're not wrong. But on the other hand, you get some good inspiration out of games like that. If you're like in terms of giving you ideas for like fights and scenes and stuff, it's pretty great. But it's like a D&D session by yourself. So I will say that I prefer D&D. But sometimes it's nice to have that time to yourself too. Well, you can do it while you're drawing, because it's not like it's a turn-based game, so it doesn't really like action intensive. And still, when the battles are going on, it gets pretty intense. studies and specify them to your whims. Yeah. I mean, I want to do more of this kind of stuff anyway. More like fighting videos. And maybe it's not going to be exactly theory. I mean, it's pretty specific to sort of late medieval stuff, but it's good to get a sense of these like movements, lunges and parries and stuff like that. And I really like how this video is set up, like how they exemplify it through the actual movements of the whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it kata, but it's pretty interesting to see how they thought about fighting and how accurate those silly looking drawings actually are. That's pretty great. Oh, Shoni has a suggestion. Let's check this out. Oh. Alright, Shoni, this is the one for tomorrow. That's great. Thank you. I mean, that's actually really awesome. So that's good for sort of longer ones, because we can study the anatomy and like intricate movements of muscles and stuff. So that'll be cool. Question for Evan. Do you know Adoria? I check. Yes, I do. They have some awesome videos on YouTube. Might find some cool material for studies there. So yeah, I've seen Adoria a bunch of times. The only problem is their camera work, which occludes a lot of the human body a lot of time, which is annoying if you're trying to study them. But I love those videos. They're like perfectly accurate sword fights to like the time, with just enough extra drama added in. It's very cool. Alright, on to more. Okay. How do you feel about the HB pencil in Procreate? I feel it's similar to the Narinder pencil, with some more forgiving due to have some opacity. Yeah, no, I like the HB pencil. It's like drawing with an HB pencil, kind of. I'm a big fan of that one too. The only reason I think I used the Narinder pencil so much is that it is so unforgiving. It does feel more like a good drawing pen, and that I like, you know, like it should be a little unforgiving. It should demand of you your absolute attention. So I think that's my only sort of give for the Narinder, is that it's like if you're drawing with the HP pencil, it's exploration time. It's softer lines, or you know, it's when you kind of you're comfortable and you're just doing something. But Narinder, that's when, you know, you're full concentration mode and you're ready to have everything demanded from you by the drawing. So like the Gollum thing I'm doing right now, for example, well, not right now, but the Gollum drawing I was doing last time, for example, I'm doing that in AHB, because when I'm doing that, I'm answering questions and stuff at the same time, so it's good to have a little bit of forgiveness, but also I've kind of figured out the pose, so there's not that much. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust the chair so it doesn't click back all the time. Anyway, I'm using the HP pencil because it makes it easier to focus on like making nice, beautiful lines and sort of getting that stuff out. So, you know, I think that works. So HP pencil is great. Good morning, Rasmus. Night of Spirit. Hello. Serentropy. Hey. What is a similar thing in Photoshop to an Render pencil? Like if you take a normal round brush, you take off the opacity, and you just let the flow be like ever so slightly on. That's pretty close. Evan, do you start out making the world with time? Do you do the garden approach and make it up as you go along, or does it feel like you want to go back and change some things sometimes? So, I mean, not really. I mean, I definitely do the gardener approach, wherein I kind of just throw out a bunch of stuff, and then little by little, it's sort of coalescing into things, which I think is a nice way of world building, because it's sort of equal parts feel and planning. I like to have some things planned. I like to be able to sort of work up the larger elements, but yeah, like I like taking this bit slower approach, building things out. But I also like building things sort of in detail quite often, so it's a bit of both really. But yeah, the gardener approach is good. Are you using the fine tip pencil? You mean this one? In which case, yes. Are you going to stream with a longer study? Probably at some point. At this point, I'm doing these mostly to sort of improve my gestures and flow. So once I feel sort of better about that, I will probably keep doing this for a good long while. But at some point, I'll probably do longer studies when there are specific things that needs to be studied. Like, if the Patreon votes for something deeply sci-fi, then I have to do, or something out of my wheelhouse, or just something where there's a bunch of interesting studies to be done, then there will be done studies. But right now, my biggest issue, I feel, is, well, I have a bunch, but it is partly this. So, and this is a great way of waking up in the morning too, like beating yourself up with a bunch of quick little thingies. But yeah, if you guys have suggestions for other studies to do, please let me know. Both from the angle of like things you think I might benefit from improving, and things you'd like to see. That'd be cool. Okay, that is a crazy dream. Tion Anima. School shooting with laser drones. Like it was laser tag? Like it was kind of a spoof on itself, or actual like drones shooting lasers? I'm a little unsure. But yeah, seriously. That's screwed up, man. See, my heart. When you're so American, you even dream of school shootings. Indeed, that's a little screwy. My heart goes out to the victims. I regret my joke. Jacket. Satan Kid. The fine tip brush. You mean like the inking brushes, Satan Kid? I'm not quite sure. So many brushes. I'm not familiar with the naming of them all. A fine tip sounds like a classic sort of pen name. Ooh, we have the fine tip pen today. Do 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 do. So you guys up for a little more Gollum today? After this? It's up to... That's the attitude, Schlurby. Gotta be the change you want to see in the world. You gotta go and Gandhi that stuff, yeah. I mean, otherwise this ain't gonna happen. Nice tip on the adjusting flow in Photoshop. Don't mess around with the flow enough. How do you use the flow in painting? Well, I only use the flow to adjust sort of brush stroke dynamics. So if I want like something that leaves a bit of, or like some modifying brush strokes, then I will use the flow to sort of make the brush strokes more easy to deal with. It's kind of a finicky tool, and I don't use it much, but especially for like making a nice little sort of hard-edged drawing pen in Photoshop, it's very useful. But I'm not super sure on how that works, so I kind of found that on a fluke, to be honest. Oops. Would love to see some animal studies as well, like the birds you did long ago. Yeah, I could do that I could try and alter the setup so I can use my standing drawing rig That could be cool. I would have to figure out somewhere to set the reference screen, but that'd be cool. Yeah, man, that'd be interesting. Are you using a contortionist method to capture these or are you just focusing on the light and shadow shapes? Mostly just like the large body shapes, and then trying to use the shadows to clarify them. Also, what reference are you using? Serentropy. I'll post it again. I'm doing this fight video from Academia Śmierci. I keep not being able to say that. Even, would you do 2B after Gollum since it was second place? The more I think about it, the more I wonder if it should look like in your style. We'll see what the next poll will probably determine what I do next for the Patreon. So I don't know if it's gonna be 2D, 2B, 2D, 2B. We'll see. 2B, we'll see. But yeah, if you're on the Patreon, you can add that in the next poll as well. I know it was neck and neck, so it'll be interesting to do, I'm sure. I'm eager to someday how you break the Loomis stiffness when studying from him. I think you mentioned that earlier in streams to show us how to pose those books more effectively. Yeah, we could do a whole Loomis stream too. So what I'm doing right now is kind of my go-to method for breaking up Loomis stiffness, as it were. It's quite useful because at this point I'm not allowed to focus on most of the things that Loomis teaches. So like Loomis is a lot about construction and relative proportions and stuff, which is good, but it also makes it very difficult to focus on movement. So right now I'm just using the bare rudiments of that knowledge and really not allowing myself to focus on it because I don't have the time. And so I just have to like apply it as quick as I can and try and get like the motions to work instead of the actual proportions. So if I can make the relative disposition of limbs and abstractions sort of cheat you into thinking that the movement is relevant and working, then the gesture is doing its job, right? So like none of this is actually entirely like correct when it comes to anatomy, but it's fine because you can read the movement, and so your eye doesn't like revolt against it, and that's the whole point here. It is an elaborate scheme to fool you essentially as a viewer. Vimes, yes. Oh man, I want to do Vimes real badly actually. So we'll see what the next vote is, but I might do him just regardless because goddamn, he's such a good character. Sorry, my spelling is bad when I try to type fast. Are you using a constructionist method to capture these gestures, or are you just focusing on the light and shadow shapes? Oh, so I tried to answer this before. I guess I'll do it again. So I am using construction, but only what I can fit into 30 seconds. So it's less about the construction and more about combining all the elements that I have in order to try and capture the movement, if that makes sense, to entropy. I mean, you might be using jargon here that I'm not super familiar with, so if this is specific jargon, could you specify? Because it's sometimes a little hard to know, but yeah, no, the technique in general is focusing on how things relate in terms of movement rather than in terms of construction or in terms of lighting. Well, for the first sort of page, I give myself 30 seconds. That's kind of standard. And then once I've done my 30-second ones, then I'm gonna go and get on some longer ones, kind of minute long, perchance. We'll see. So I'm doing 30-second ones now. So that's why they're so rough. It's a great way of starting up the day too. So it's interesting, Yunog, that you bring up balance or stability, because that's kind of the source of the problem with Loomis, right? Like Loomis and Hogarth and most of these classicists, what they teach you is balanced drawing. Right? They teach you to draw stable poses. They teach you to draw things that feel good on the page because we as humans like to see things that are stable. Thing is, most people at most times are falling, right? Like walking is essentially just a sequence of falling forwards. And in that vein, we have to learn, for authenticity's sake, to draw things that are falling controlled, right? We have to do the Buzz Lightyear thing. We're not flying, we're falling with style. We're not walking, we are falling forward. And so like most things are only in balance because it's in a movement between two balanced positions. And that's important to remember because this sort of mantra of 60-40, perfectly balanced, contraposed, all these things, it doesn't actually reflect how people stand. So that's why you get this sense of artificialness a lot of the time when people are drawing like scenes, for example. One thing is in like character design, where it's fine that people are standing kind of controlled because you're not really focusing on like dynamic gesture, you're focusing on static gesture. But yeah, in general, like most things aren't as balanced as we might like. So good idea to try and be comfortable with that. Morning, Khalil. Oh, hey, Kuya, JP. JP, that's you. I'm just gonna call you JP. That's cooler. Hey, JP, what's up? Seriously, if just because I'm on a Battle Brothers raging these days. Y'all should try out the game. It's freaking fantastic, and it's like, well, you kind of have to like RTS stuff, and I'm not usually a super fan of this, like, what you call it, like turn-based kind of static thing. But the thing is that everything in the game kind of serves the story of your band of mercenaries. So it's more of a storytelling game than like an RTS game. And I think that really works for it. It's fun to sort of apply these game design elements to a formula that isn't purely RTS. So it's a lot of like little moral choices to make, and you can kind of tell your story and make it up as you go. I like it. Nice thing how you applied the falling concept. I'm curious about it. So Luca, it's more of an awareness, right? Like when you're so when you're drawing gesture from head, right? Being aware of the fact that you're not going for perfectly balanced, but going for one of these slightly more well, let's just call them falling senses. That's gonna change the way you emphasize your drawing, right? So if the way that you think about the drawing is that it only works if the character or the individual or the animal or whatever is standing perfectly balanced, then that's what you're gonna reach for. But if you're going for something that feels more like it's between two balanced phases, then that might be where you find the success in the drawing, right? So it's more about where you can get yourself with the drawing, and part of that has to be vision. Part of that has to be what you push towards in the drawing for yourself. It's the same as with, like if you see someone, if you're trying to draw someone shooting a bow, for example, right? And you haven't really studied it, and you kind of go like, everybody knows what it looks like to shoot with a bow, and then you try, and it comes off like kind of sort of okay, but like it feels a little weird. And then you go and study it, and you figure out, like, oh, the elbow has to be this way, and like the fingers actually hold it like this, and there are different ways of doing it, all these kind of things. Like little details like that, little bits of understanding that you can leverage, that adds authenticity. So the more you study particular movements and sets of movements, you'll see that, like, because you are in movement, you are not in pure stability. And yeah, it's a good awareness to have, Alright, that's a good little first page. Let's do some 1-minuters. Oh. Is there any project out or coming out this year that you wish you were part of? Well, the new Tolkien property from Amazon, I'm pretty stoked about. I have no idea if it's gonna be good, which makes it makes me very nervous, because like Amazon has made a lot of nice stuff. They've made a lot of good series, right? Most lately The Boys, and I'm very happy with what they made. But the thing is, I'm having such a hard time seeing exactly how they're gonna work with the source material, that I'm quite nervous about what it's gonna be like. But I'm interested, and I would have loved to be on that. I mean, to be honest, like as much as I give The Witcher a hard time, that's mostly because I don't like Geralt. The setting and stuff is cool, so I would have loved to work on that. What else? I think working on the Dune movie would have been fucking swell. I'm a big fan of the Dune universe and Frank Herbert and Denis Villeneuve. So, well, I'm a fan of Denis Villeneuve. I don't know enough of his work to say that I'm a big fan, but I like his work a lot. What I've seen. So yeah, those are some. What about you guys? I mean, I'm interested in hearing, what general projects you guys are thinking about these days. There is a lot. I absolutely loved your pictures with bows in Tyne. I should do a bit of archery myself and rarely see bows done right. Hey, Raja. Yeah, like I do a lot of bow. I've done a lot of bow shooting myself. I know like a bit about like the weighing and the sort of balancing of it. So it's one of those things where like personal experience shines through a little. So I'm real glad that came through. Thank you. I hate Windows so much it took over 2 hours to update. Yeah, I can be a bit of a burden. I mean, is it worth hating though? I mean, I agree there's a lot of annoying things about it, don't get me wrong, but I'm always a little bit on the whole like, could I build something better than that? I don't know that I could. So I'm always a little wary about, harping on about things, but maybe that's why I'm quite brazen when it comes to the thing that I do myself. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally do better than that, and then maybe I would fuck it up. But yeah, no, I get your pain, man. Like Windows can be annoying, so but hey, how else are we gonna run our computers? On Apples? I don't know. He said, working on an iPad. I'm currently opening up Bodies in Motion. Oh, Jesus Christ. For a moment there, Will, I thought you meant like you were doing autopsies. I'm currently opening up Bodies. I have a quick draw section where you can set up how many drawings, that type of movement, how long each frame lasts. It's really good stuff. They also have different head turnaround with various expressions in same models, each of the head and expression practice. Nice! Alright, so I should definitely get this Bodies in Motion thing and do like a bunch of... Because that's another thing too I want to do. Okay, so that's... I'm writing this down right now, because that is a good idea. Because facial expressions is still something that I struggle with, so... Face... Expressions... Bodies in Motion. BIM. Because that's a great idea, and it sounds like a wonderful tool for it, so I want to do that. Oh, dude, Luca, no problem. Doo-doo-doo. Hey, Genelab. Lychee Jelly Slug. Do you feel like projects in the movie and games industries are much larger or smaller than known by the general public? Yeah, I don't think the general public has much of an idea what goes into a video game. Like whenever you're at a party or something and tell people that you work in video games, and they're like, but don't you draw? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, oh, you good with computers? I'm like, nope, no, I'm not. But yeah, no, most people don't. I don't think most people know what goes into that. But also just like the scope of it. Like whenever you mention that there are like hundreds of people working on video games, like individual video games. I mean, not like in the whole industry, but and people are usually quite like, whoa, well, that's pretty big. Must be a job in there, you know? Like, yeah. But in general too, like I think when people get into the industry too, people tend to be a little bit like taken aback by the scope of it, because you know, like when you get into this, I don't know if that's still the experience. When I got into it, anyway, like the first time I went to Funcom, and I mean, I don't know if you know if I told this story before, but I snuck into Funcom the first time I went there, which was really funny. But that's another story. Point is, I got to meet like the concept art team, and there was like, 8 people or something sitting there and doing awesome drawings about things, and I was like, I want to do that. That sounds cool. People working on apples. I'm working on a potato. Beat that. Ooh, potato art. Maybe that's the next move. I art you, potato. Whoa, this foot. This foot, though. Okay, I know I've gone way over time, but I just want to make this work. Ah, that's it. Yeah, weight distribution, guys. It's important. There's also quick poses. That's another one? Alright, let me check that out. This is just called quick poses. Oh, post library. Nice. Alright, might start with that. But okay, cool. Cool. Here's a great page that has a ton of life drawing references as well as some hand, face, and expressions. Dude, this is awesome. Thank you, Schlurby. Man, that's my new go-to phrase. Thank you, Schlurby. Balloon Azure. Hi, Evan. With your interest in medieval stuff, have you ever tried doing some reenactment or HEMA? I did reenactment for like 8 years. And I've kind of been looking for an excuse to get back into it. I still have my sword and my shield and my axe and my coat of chainmail hanging right behind me. I can show you, I guess. There you go. Hanging right down there. Yeah. So, I'm ready at a moment's notice to go out and slay. Whoa. Did I screw this thing up now? Oh no. Oh man. Oh no. Why don't I understand how this thing works? Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's see. Oh, I'm losing y'all. Cookie Cafe. Yeah, I have Faculty of Liberal Arts degree, and now I'm technically working in IT, which is the fine basis for jokes for my actual IT-oriented friends. I know so many people who now have jobs in the industry, who had who ended up in in an IT job or similar. And I don't know if it's like that for you, Raja, but apparently there's a bunch of downtime So that's perfect for sneaking in a study here and a little sketcheroony there. But yeah, it must be frustrating. That I've been thinking about a lot actually. Like, they must be so difficult to set up a course-wide curriculum for teaching art, because you have to make something that's applied to like a plurality of students. And having met some art students, like, people learn in such crazily varied ways that you can only imagine. I'm working on a children's book with my writer wife, promoting my portraits business and building up a concept art portfolio. And studying anatomy. Yeah, well, you do not sound like you have a lot of free time. But dude, that's impressive. So, can't wait to see some of that. That sounds like awesomeness. Ooh, that's a cool pose. Let's see. This timer, it's free. Any reason why you make your gesture so clean and like some artists? Most artists. I don't know. Because I want it to be reproducible and repurposed when I'm doing my drawings. And so, if they're too messy, then it's literally just energy drawing, which is fine. That's fun to do, but it's hard to then bring that back into clean or like worked out line art. So by doing this, it's a similar approach to, or at least a similar look kind of to what I do in the stuff that I apply and the stuff that I do. So it's simply because I'm trying to find shapes and visual shorthands and applications that I can then use in drawings. And again, just to give props where props are due, most of this whole technique is just derived from Saskia Gutekunst. I can write that in the chat. She is amazing, so go check out her stuff. So I did mostly Viking reenactment and some medieval stuff. I helped found a club here in Oslo called Vingelmark, which it's still there. It's just like none of the original members are members still, so it's a total turnover. But yeah, that was back in the day, so I might rejoin that if I have the chance and find like the time. But this last year and a half has been pretty crazy, so. Let's see. I'm interested in new Lord of the Rings and Dune. Finishing the Children of Dune right now. Ooh, that's a good book. Yeah, like Dune is fun because it's bringing a whole new sort of element of understanding. To like an aspect of sci-fi that hasn't really been done much, and that's always interesting. Like that's where sci-fi really has a lot to offer. Is this perspective of the the elements that they're writing about. So like, if Dune had just been about like people in the desert, then it would be kind of boring. But because it's about people in the desert seen from a perspective of someone whose understanding leads to, you know, a lot of cool details, but also almost like poetry about the desert. It's clear that it's coming from a point of understanding that's greater than one's own, and so you're willing to listen. It's kind of like if you've seen Lawrence of Arabia. Like, that movie is only interesting because both T.S. Lawrence was like a great teller of that story himself, but also the people who made the movie were great lovers of T.S. Lawrence, and so there's this mutual respect going on, an actual understanding of the importance of the rebellion of Faisal. So yeah, all that's interesting. And it makes for hella good stories. House tour with Evan? We'll make that another day. Hey, Russia. Alexander Höeg. Hey, oh. In about 2 months, I'll be proud owner of my very own sword. Childhood dream about to come true. Nice, Raja. Right now, I have only an internship for concept artists, so I do my best to convince them to keep me. Also, I have my desk right now to the alley, so kind of out in the open. People can see what I'm working on. Man, we had that when my last year at Volta. We got incorporated with a larger studio called Freema, and their studio was in this old TV studio, which was so we were set up, like, we were the concept art team, so we were set up in the old control room, which was this like giant glass box. So to begin with, people would just like walk past and look at us like a bunch of cage monkeys, which was not super helpful to morale or to people's like inspiration and willingness to work. So after a while, they put like vinyl covers on the glass so that no one could look in. Oh man, that was funny. It's like, ooh, look at the artists. They're drawing stuff. Aren't they fascinating? Shh, don't scare them. So Evan, what are my ongoing projects right now? Dude, like, everything I do is under NDA, so I can't really talk about it. But suffice it to say that I'm gonna be very happy to tell you when either the project is emerging or the NDA runs out. But yeah, I'm pretty psyched. I'm actually starting my newest project today. I can tell you I'm working on some D&D things, which is pretty cool. So I just got some feedback emails this morning, so I'm gonna do some light revision and send those back in, and then I'm gonna start on another project, and I'm waiting for some feedback on a third project. So yeah, I got 3 consecutive projects going right now. Though, I mean, D&D is not really a project; it's like an individual illustration. But it's always good to have between things, because it's something I really like to do, and it's very nice for sort of gauging when it comes to this kind of thing, right? Like what I need to practice and what I can do. So it's always nice when you do your thumbnails and you find that, or your rough sketches, and you find that you can do things that you couldn't before. You can do like pre-visualization that was difficult to do before. So yeah, that's really nice. I struggle a lot getting from a nice sketch to with the right feel to it and maintaining the energy to clean up. And advice on that? Yeah, so when you're cleaning up, make sure you're not like just detail orienting, but that you're actually keeping in mind the important elements of the sketch. And that cleaning up the sketch doesn't mean like meticulously outlining every element. I've learned that to my detriment many times. You have to sort of, it's difficult, right? Because you have to think about the lines not as just descriptors, but like as a tool. So sometimes you want to like hint at an element, and sometimes you want to be outright detailed. So you can think about detailing as kind of a flat surface of water covering your entire piece, and you drop a stone where you want the eye to rest, and then outwards from there are consecutive circles of diminishing detail, right? So the further away, the less detail, the more sketchy you can get, which will help you sort of lead the eye into where you want detail. And then if you are thinking about sort of the dispersion of energy throughout a sketch, then using lighter lines the further you get from the action can be a good idea. But yeah, all of these need to be things that you kind of take case by case based on the image you're doing. And remembering that like drawing inside of the form is almost as important as drawing outside of it. So like drawing across the form, really like exploring the spatial design of something can be really important and can really help maintaining a lot of that energy. So there's a good tip. But yeah, as I said, like the great thing about doing these kinds of gesture studies is that there are poses here that you would never think about. You would never think them up, but they can be very useful when you're gonna draw like a fight scene or something. I used to do Viking reenactment too in Quebec, but after I've broken 2 fingers after a sword blow to my hand, I decided it was better to my career to stop fighting. Ooh, you from Quebec? Ballon Azur? That's cool. I lived there for 3 years, so I'm a bit of a fan of Quebec. But yeah, like it's risky. You gotta wear proper protection to do medieval fighting. So I have these like, or I actually need to make new ones because they've kind of fallen apart now. But these like armored mittens, which is layers and layers of linen and wool made into like a giant mitten shape, and it takes more energy just to close the hand than to hold the sword. So like after an hour of fighting, your hand is like just stuck in like a vice-like claw grip, and you gotta really work it free and make sure to stretch and bend, because god damn, you can get some pretty bad cramps if you don't take it seriously. But dude, it's like the most fun to like go into a battle line, and I used to be flank runner a lot of time, so like just the feeling of when you manage to like get around the flank and take out the guy who's trying to come to stop you, and like go and just like clear out a whole enemy line. Man, that's fun. That's a good tactic, Yunag. Though when those when you've been peppering your enemy with arrows and they catch up to you, they might not be very nice to you with with your fancy bow and your whatnots. Glass box monkey. That's me. Should be my new online moniker. I mean, that was pretty much what it was, Serendipity. It was like, you felt like a good bit like a zoo animal, which was, yeah, it was, it was a good way of getting a lot of people to think about leaving. But, you know, they were caring. They fixed it up once they realized it was a problem. Let's see. You always wanted to. Words are hard this morning, Slurby. I'm sorry. You want to forge your own sword. That sounds pretty kick-ass. I would love to do that too. Speaking of which, have you guys? Do you guys know Lindy Beige? It's a very good YouTube channel for people who like little tidbits of history and interesting ideas. But Lindy Beige, the guy who runs the page, he has a real name too, but I can't remember what it is. Yeah, he has a bunch of videos of him like hanging out with a blacksmith and learning how to forge a sword. That's pretty cool. It's a long ass process. A lot of moving parts, and there's like these. There's these fantastic moments of like of drama to it. Like, it's not necessarily the thing you would expect a lot of drama from, but like these quenching moments, and when the heat and the pressure has to be applied just so that the amalgamation actually turns out correctly. That's pretty cool. Do you mind sharing that artist's name? That technique is derived from? It's further up in the chat, Khalil. It's Saskia Gutekunst. Yeah, Quebec City. I do bridge fight? Quite a blast. I fought on bridges, if that's what you mean. I didn't do any reenactment when I was in Quebec though. But man, I used to live out in a place called Limoilou. So it was a bit of a walk to get into town, but I would get like the view of like the morning sun hitting the city. It's pretty great. I still remember that. I miss horse riding and hoped to try out horseback archery someday, but the idea of breaking my drawing arm is getting more scary by each year. Yeah. Oh, dude. I've been thinking about that too. I think that's partly what's been keeping me from doing the reenactment stuff too. It's like, it would suck. I definitely want to go and do some life drawing with those guys though. Like, just watch them and observe, and kind of like we're doing now, but with real people. Maybe I'll bring a camera and we can, like, a video camera, and I'll film a little thing, put it up on the YouTubes. And then we can all study it. Yeah. Alright. Couple more, and then I think it's Golem time. going to Copenhagen in a few days. Anything you guys recommend? Should definitely visit. Damn it, Evan, you just want to mention Lindovich for his endeavors to forge his own sword. Ah, Lloyd, that's the name. Yeah, if you're going to Copenhagen, you should definitely go to the place called the Glyptotek, which, like a bibliothek, it means the place where all the sculptures are at. It's a pretty great gallery and museum. Other than that, I can only recommend Christiania is definitely worth visiting. It's a fun little place. What else? It's weird when you lived in a city because you kind of get used to it, and so you don't go and do the things that you would do if you were showing people around. I think I would definitely suggest going and seeing like the Bastion. It kind of depends on what you're there for, of course. Dude, what is there to see in Copenhagen? There's a lot of historical sites if you're into that, which is worth seeing, and it's can be kind of cool. And then there's a ton of cool cafes. Like where I used to live, is a ton of like nice little pubs and cafes. That's in Amagerbro, which is like 10 minutes from Centrum with the metro. So that's worth doing. Just go to the botanical gardens. Definitely, that's no doubt the season for that. Yeah, it's a good start. The posts are so good. Makes me think that I should do it more often too. It's a warm up. Yeah, it really is a good warm up. So you definitely should do it. All right. One last one, and then I think we are off to see the little decrepit goblin. I mean, golem. We're off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. All right. See, I've done kendo before. That would be very good again for learning to hold a pencil. Yeah, kendo's cool too. I always thought that was getting a little too like ceremonial, but there's probably like applicable elements there too. For good old sword fighting. Let's see. Oh no, wait, he's still here, isn't he? Yes, he is. Hi, Gollum. Alright, let's do a little 40-minute stint on this guy, and then I gotta go and do my stuff. Something I'm enjoying. Since you focus more on using your left hands. Oh yeah. Do I do on-location figure drawing sometimes? I mean, yeah, I do. Like, whenever I go out, I bring my sketchbook with me, so a lot of time, I'll doodle people and things as we go along. So, absolutely, that's great practice. Bridge fight is more competitive 5v5, where each team has to cross the bridge, not necessarily the actual bridge, and hit a shield on the other side. If you search Bridge Fight Wolin on YouTube. Okay, I'm definitely doing that. Bridge Fight Wolin. So I'll keep that for. Oh, I see it here. Nice. Oh, I'm gonna check that out. We'll definitely check it out. Thank you. I was considering doing a plain area. Third steps. Oh, how did you think England Oh, what did you think of England when I lived there? I really liked it. I lived in Cornwall, so I was, and especially in Falmouth, which is like it's half a pretty traditional like Cornish town, and also because a ton of hippies and stuff moved there in the 80s. There's a bajillion little specialty stores and a lot of ex hippies and stuff. So it's like a mix between ex hippies and extremely charming, but not necessarily extremely politically correct speaking older people. So that was yeah, extremely charmed. Um, so yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't much like what I was learning at school, or the lack of stuff that I was learning at school, I could see myself staying there. It is a very charming place. So now that the whole Brexit thing is happening, I probably couldn't. They would throw me the hell out. But yeah, no, like Falmouth. If you have the chance, if you're going down to Cornwall at some point, I would definitely recommend a visit. It is a bit of a pearl. Or maybe that's my remembrance of it. There was a cafe there when I was there called what's it called? Something. It was yeah. It sounded like children's gibberish, but it was this wonderful little cafe. Like it was very emblematic of Falmouth, because it was like a tiny little cafe with like maybe 10 seats and a bunch of like exhibited art on every available surface, and it was all kinds of like weird stuff from mostly from art students at the school, and it was very sweet. Limoilou is a great place to live. Indeed, I plan to move there once I'll get back. Oh, you live in France? Where in France? And yeah, Limoilou was wonderful. It's this wonderful mix of like almost suburb, but with like a bunch of restaurants and bars and a lot of noise and a lot of life. It's pretty great. Am I normally drawing all day? Well, not all day. I do take breaks, and I have other things to do too. Sometimes I go climbing, like yesterday, and I have a bit of a life. So there's other things to do. Yesterday I made some kick-ass muffins. I gotta say I'm pretty happy with them, though it wasn't my recipe. I stole it off the internet, but I still made the muffins, so I'm happy. Yeah, Golem's looking good. Excited to see how you detail it. Hey, thanks. Drawing here, it's like trying to simplify large. Oops, sorry about that. Trying to simplify the complex shapes of hair into larger shapes. So kind of like not what I've done on him here, because I want his hair to feel like stringy and gross. So I don't want it to come off as complete in any way. But if you're drawing sort of normal human hair, try and do studies where you observe hair and try and break it down into its largest shapes. That might be a good little study to do too. On this here stream. Should add it to the list. Facial expression. I'm gonna write it down. Hair. Studies. Hell yeah. I live in Rennes. Oh, dude. I've been to Rennes. I've been to Brittany a bit. I have friends who live there. Prosper lives there, I think. No, they moved now. Prosper, if you're still on, where do you guys live now? Anyway, that's cool, man. Brittany is beautiful. Are you using the same brush here as you were in the study with no pressure size difference? No, this is now I'm using the HB pencil, and it's just because I wanna. Because I figured out the pose in when we studied or when we did sort of the prelim sketches. Now I'm just looking to sort of complete it, and so having the Narinder is real good for a lot of things, for direct drawing, for studying, stuff like that, where you can, or when it serves a purpose of be a little unforgiving towards yourself. But right now I'm trying to get just like nice flowing, good looking lines that are gonna work well with paint, and so something that's both serves the purpose of finding the shapes, but also is not going to be a big deal to delete afterwards is useful here, which is why the HB pencil is good. And also because I want to try and make this guy a little more painterly as the end product, getting in some flowing and kind of beautifying shapes in the lines here can be effective. It can be useful, I think. So that's something I'm going to try out, and that's why I'm using the HB. Let's see. What stretches do you do to keep your arms and hands healthy? Alright, let's go through some stretches, guys. So, let's see, can you see this? Alright, so holding your hand flat, applying pressure with your fingers, all the fingers I mean, and stretching backwards until you can go no longer, and then doing 10 breaths, while at every exhale you pull a little further. You'll feel that in the lower arm a lot. That and stretching the thumb in all kinds of ways, and then stretching individual fingers, and stretching the wrists. That's my usual stretching routine. And first of all, it feels real good. But secondly, it's really important. Like I think it's one of the reasons why I've never dealt with like tendonitis, is that I use my hands a lot to like do other things. Like I go climbing and I did sword fighting and stuff like that. And so while there's a risk, the reward is that you do gain a lot of ancillary strength in a lot of like supporting muscles that you wouldn't otherwise. And I think that really helps with not getting tendonitis. Study stream, so tricky to give volume. Indeed. Alright. So tomorrow we do facial expressions, and Thursday I guess we'll do some hair. We're off to see the wizard. You live in Essex. Oh, that's pretty nice, I guess. I haven't been to Essex, I don't really know. But, oh, there we go. Lyon is where you guys are now. Rennes is beautiful. I live on the edge of the Peak District in England. Great mountain bike trails, perfect for just getting out and exercising the stress away in the countryside. Dude, that does sound pretty wonderful. Sometimes I want to go and live in the mountains. Just not deal with anything. Just live up there, hunt wild carrots, and draw drawings. Slurby, if you're interested in real-time process thingies, I have a bunch of videos on YouTube of just that. So if you just search my name on the YouTubes, you'll probably find it. And yeah, drop me a like if you can. That'd be nice. Gotcha. We've been using no size different version while studying, and it really helps. Dude, Kilabi, that is perfect. That's exactly it. It's just it's good to take the prettiness factor out of studies and just try and just gain understanding. That's all you're there for, right? That's what we're there for. Might as well do it right. What? Farms and fields. Oh, I guess what you mean certain places where you live there's a lot of farms and fields, which is either nice or extremely smelly, depending. So I hope the former, I fear the latter. Or both, I mean. I just want to say that there's so much useful stuff that you're teaching and sharing, and the random bits of info is gold. Thank you. Oh, dude, thank you, Luca. That is wonderful to hear. I'm glad you guys are. You guys seem to be enjoying the stream, so I'm really happy about that. Hey, oh man, Satel, got my back. Thanks. Visiting. All right. Well, Century, invest heavily in what do we call them? Wunderbaums, and press on, buddy. I'm visiting home to North Wales next week. Going to see all the castles and countryside again. I can't wait. Oh, dude, I do envy you that. Wales is a place I want to go. Wales has like a crazy history too. Like when the rest of England was fighting to become this kingdom or that kingdom, the Welsh were just sitting on the sideline going like, anybody comes into my valleys, I'm gonna stab him in the face. And then they did multiple times until Longshanks went a little fucking haywire and was like, hey, let's just kill any Welshman who doesn't immediately surrender. And the Welsh were like, ooh, damn. But yeah, the Welsh are cool. At least you're still in. Okay. Oh, Luca, just come and say hi. I'm always happy to meet people. I don't know why I had that song on my head now. I've never, well, I had like way back when I saw The Wizard of Oz, but it's been a while. I wonder why that is popping into my head now. Maybe I am off to see the wizard. Oh god, sleepy still. I need more coffee and some breakfast. Oh yeah, I've seen all the YouTube ones. I was talking about like an unsped up process video of the piece. Ah, Slurby. Yeah, though, I mean, at some point I think you'd be pretty bored with that, to be honest. My process can be kinda tedious. Okay. Let's focus on this rag a little. Alright, let's analyze this arm and see what is not quite working. Actually, I think I see it. I wasn't considering how this muscle would overlap with this muscle. So it's there and then there, right? Yeah, that looks better. And then let's... So one thing I definitely need to do is make some studies of like sick, like sallow skin. So skin studies. Probably actually put them first because they're very applicable for this guy. Some speed vids too though. Well, alright, if there's a demand for it, I'm sure we can figure something out for unsped up videos, but I would have to get a well, no, I could just, yeah, I guess I could just, I mean, I'm recording these guys with the OBS, so I'm sure I could just do that and smack it all together. So yeah, I'll look into that. That might be cool too. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be noodling on this for the next couple of minutes. I really quite like how the body got like some natural elongation from the point two, from the pose, I mean. But what I really want to do is make sure that I get that spine nice and exposed. Like that's a lovely bit of sort of anatomical drama right there. If you can see like some of the spinal like ridges just standing out. That will be pretty oof looking. The only negative point of France is that you can't go and sketch in most coffee cafes, or at least not without being looked at like you were an alien. Rosacea, okay. Am I gonna have nightmares now? Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's pretty perfect. Thank you, man. Alright, let's do something more about this hair. I feel like I kind of missed a trick here. So one thing you can always do, like one thing that hair allows for is flow, right? So what I can do here is indicate, let me show you. Like what I want to do here is to indicate this kind of a movement, right? Just to emphasize the turn of the head, since the head is coming this way. And without throwing the hair around, I want to indicate, make the eye self-reinforce that turn, right? So by cropping his hair a little shorter on this side, maybe adding like some skin disturbance here so that it looks like he's been like scratching away the hair or something, making it thin and bristly and having some skin show through. And having it hang down the back, we have a nice little framing device, right? And we can do, we can make the same move with these strands of hairs. Rather than having them just hanging limply, we can reinforce that turn of the head. And think of them more like, if you look at like stringy hair too, it doesn't really hang straight. It all is modified by its own internal twists and tensions, and also like how far they are away from the connecting point in the scalp. I'm glad of it too, Pixels there. Since I know your work, I saw a lot of fantasy, but have you ever considered exploring science fiction universes? So, GenoLab, I have. I've also done a couple. Like, if you look at the ArtStation, you'll find I did some Dune characters, for example. So, I'm not entirely foreign to trying out some sci-fi, but it is, like, I will admit that those Dune guys is a little cheaty, because I did make them sort of fitting the fantasy mold a little more maybe than other iterations have. But yeah, like I like sci-fi, but most sci-fi I've read is more like sci-fantasy. But yeah, like what I really like in concept design is using concept design to explore and tell stories about cultures and creatures and stuff. And what I think is fun is like the limitations that a setting can impose on you. And so you have to be kind of science specific, I think, to make interesting science concept to explore. I think doing like Star Trek things could be fun, because Star Trek, apart from Discovery, which let's not get started, but like the great thing about Star Trek is that they always kind of respected the limitations and the problems that would occur by traveling in space. So I like that as a backdrop, like I like those kinds of problems to deal with. Oh, hey Bjorn. Now we're a party. But yeah, I do quite like quite like sci-fi, but Bjorn is the perfect person to bring it up though, because he's done a bunch of those things. So maybe that's a future thing to go into too. Like really just make some like mecha mecha soldier things. That could be cool. I mean, it is just something that never really appealed to me, but not for an abundance of trying either. So maybe I just need to give it another shot. Oh, dude, look at all these people. Hey, everybody. Yeah, Gollum is coming along pretty nice. It's like the little ending treat for the stream today. So I'm trying to do a bit of a fun retake on him. Dwarf mechs. Well, yeah. I mean, then we're really playing with like sci-fi fantasy stuff. That could be interesting too. So we'll definitely see. Okay. So there we have a whole other bunch of studies to do. Mechanical studies. Yes. All right. So I have to study and figure out like how mechanical hinges work. That's a whole new universe of things to get into and to understand. So that would be quite interesting actually, because it's not really something that I've ever ventured into much. Why isn't it drawing now? Oh, because I'm using the wrong goddamn color. It auto selected the background. There we go. Alright, I think the line art is pretty much done for this guy. If I just keep noodling now, I'm probably just going to ruin something. So I'll do the silhouetting and stuff on my own time, just so you don't have to sit and watch that. And the next time, I guess we'll do some skin studies and apply that to the underlying colors and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it now, so I can go and do some breakfast and hang out with my wife and little. So yeah. See you guys tomorrow for some badass skin studies. It's gonna be more sort of color based, but as always, we'll start with some gestures. So yeah, thank you guys for coming. Hope you had fun. Bring all your friends next time. Let's all get good together. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for having fun. Cheerio to all. Bye, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.